The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. If you are new here, you are welcome. The Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill has officially been passed by the Ghanaian Parliament. But the dramatic manner of its passage has completely fractured the House. What was supposed to be a straightforward legislative conclusion descended into fierce accusations of betrayal, political gymnastics, and deep partisan warfare between the majority and the minority. The passage of this bill immediately sparked a massive showdown over what the minority calls a watered-down and heavily diluted version of the original law. The majority leader stood before the House to celebrate the passage, announcing that although John Dramani Mahama, the president, is currently out of the jurisdiction, he will expressly and immediately assent to the bill the moment he returns to Ghana. The majority argued that they have fulfilled a sacred promise to the Ghanaian people to protect the moral fiber of society by completely prohibiting the practice, advocacy, and promoting of the you understand?
Honourable members, the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 is duly read for the third time and passed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Minority Leader for his presence in the chamber and contributions as he joined us to pass the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. It's a promise that was made that the bill will be passed and upon passage will be assented to expressly by President John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, but for the fact that we have not yet printed a copy of the bill, I would have assured you that this evening the bill would have been assented to.
Without ceremony.
Without ceremony. Unfortunately, the President is out of the jurisdiction. We have not yet printed a copy of the bill for him. But upon return to Ghana, I can assure Ghanaians that His Excellency, the President, will, as promised, assent to this bill and it will come into force. I know that my friends in the minority are going to go out there and try to mislead the public. I am told that instead of remaining in the chamber and putting up a fight based on their convictions, they have absconded, left the chamber, and they are outside attempting to mislead Ghanaians in a press conference. Mr. Speaker, what is it all about? The proponents of the bill propose in clause 9 and clause 10 that subject to the Constitution. And the committee decided to elaborate on the rendition of subject to the Constitution and felt that when it comes to the right to counsel and the freedom of lawyers to represent persons accused of offenses under this act, we cannot treat advocacy in that instance as promoting LGBTQ practice. Same way, the committee felt that they should propose to this House that media houses reporting matters relating to LGBTQ should not be accused of the offense of promoting LGBTQ. And academics, researchers, conducting research into matters of LGBTQ, they should be free to publish their reports. The publication of those reports or research findings should not amount to an offense under this act. And lastly, they proposed that when people practicing LGBTQ go to the hospital and they are attended to by doctors, whether it is counseling, treatment, or surgery, we should not accuse those doctors of promoting or supporting LGBTQ. These are the simple provisions of the recommendations that the committee made to this House. Instead of remaining in this chamber for us to discuss it and build a consensus, our colleagues in the minority have left and they're out there misleading Ghanaians that what is being passed today is a watered-down version of the bill that was presented to President Akufo-Addo to assent to. That is far from the fact. The sponsor of the bill, Reverend Dr. Reverend Ntimfojo, Honorable Ntimfojo, he who sponsored the bill allowed the rendition subject to the Constitution. One of the sponsors of the bill, he allowed the rendition subject to the Constitution. So even if this House had not attempted to elaborate on what subject to the Constitution means, I am convinced that any court would have struck down any attempt to convict a doctor providing medical services to any person involved in LGBTQ. I am convinced that any court in this country would have struck down any attempt to prosecute a media house for reporting on a matter relating to LGBTQ. And I am definitely convinced that no court would have tolerated the punishment of a lawyer who attempts to provide legal services in defense of a person practicing LGBTQ. So, in my opinion, perhaps the committee needlessly brought this proposal to us. But I think that it is out of abundance of caution to make things very clear that the committee proposed this amendment. These are the only issues on which the minority is standing to say that the bill has been watered down. This bill is not watered down. This bill does two major things. One, this bill prohibits any practice of LGBTQ in this country. Two, this bill prohibits any advocacy of LGBTQ in this country. This bill prohibits any promotion of LGBTQ in this country. And this bill punishes anybody who engages in any of these four things that I have mentioned. This, I believe, is what originally was brought to this House in the last Parliament and remains what has been brought to this House. And so I want to urge Ghanaians to accept that nothing has changed. The commitments that this House expressed in the last Parliament and this Parliament remains unalloyed. And today, the bill has been passed to satisfy the quest of many Ghanaians that we should not allow the moral fiber of our society to be destroyed by these strange practices. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank colleagues who have stayed on a Friday when they should be on their way to their constituencies to enable us pass this bill. I want to thank the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for the diligence that they have applied in working on this bill. The chairman is a member of the Hajj board and is in Jeddah, but the vice chairperson who has shepherded this bill through the consideration stage must be highly commended and applauded for his performance today in helping us to pass the bill. Mr. Speaker, on that note, I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for sitting through and guiding us diligently to ensure that this bill is passed. I believe my colleague, the minority leader, has no objection to the bill being passed. And if he had, he would have joined his colleagues to leave the chamber. He doesn't have any objection. That's why he sat with us throughout the process to ensure the passage of this bill. When President John Dramani Mahama is going to assent to the bill, I'll invite you to accompany me to the Flagstaff House to witness a president assenting to the Human Family Sexual Rights and Family Values Act that will be signed by His Excellency the President. I believe we have come to the end of the day. There will be no letter threatening the clerk of this Parliament, asking him to desist from bringing the bill to the Flagstaff House. Mr. Clerk, the President is eagerly waiting for you at the Flagstaff House. And he says, as soon as he returns, you should hasten with the bill to him so that, as promised to Ghanaians, he will append his signature to it. Mr. Speaker, on that note, I believe we have done more than 5 hours. We've done more than 5 hours, and therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, we are in your hands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader, you have the floor.
Speaker, thank you for the treasure space to also say a few words. Mr. Speaker, clearly this evening, this country has witnessed an unprincipled political act by our friends in the majority. They may try and act smart. But smartness does not last. Integrity lasts. Mr. Speaker, in opposition, our friends resisted any attempt at amending their proposed sponsored bill. And today, we know that the very law that they wanted Nana Akufo-Addo to sign, when they were faced with the same law, they amended and diluted that same law. Such a double standard does not pass for a man with principles. It is not enough to say one thing whilst in opposition, and when you get power, you change your stand thinking that nobody can read through. Mr. Speaker, let me draw the attention of the House to some few procedural blunders. One, at page 42, we have been told that motion 41 and 42 were moved. But, Mr. Speaker, the terms of the motion in 41 are clearly spelled out. It is important to let Ghanaians know that at this critical stage, none of the NDC sponsors of this bill was in this chamber. Honorable Emmanuel Kwesi Bejra, whose name is advertised in this motion, was not here. Honorable Sam Nate George, not in the chamber. Honorable Na Adole Sowa, not in the chamber. Honorable Ellen Ajua Intosu, not in the chamber. Mr. Speaker, it is the reason why, without the leave of the House, the Honorable Dafia Mekpo moved a motion. We have paid attention to all that, and then when it came to motion 42, again, none of the sponsors who could have moved the motion was in to move the motion. Mr. Speaker, nobody. Where is Honorable Sam George? Mr. Speaker, he was loud on the rooftops, very loud. Where is Honorable Bejra? The several press conferences he held. And Mr. Speaker, Hansard will be my witness that as a majority leader in the 8th Parliament, when our friends in the NDC introduced this bill and we invited them for discussions drawing the attention to the danger in certain clauses, they refused. Today, as they take responsibility of governance, they've realized that indeed the issues we raise are still critical. Mr. Speaker, who in this country is NDC trying to deceive? The religious leaders? Our chiefs? Our civil society? Mr. Speaker, I urge every Ghanaian interested in this matter to pick the law that the NDC pushed on Ghanaians and Akufo-Addo, and pick this very law that they claim President Mahama is going to sign. I know that indeed President Mahama couldn't have signed that bill, and the NDC knows that they cannot present the same bill. So what kind of double standard on principled politics is this? And then you think that out of smartness you can play on words, use social media to deceive anybody. What you've passed today is very obtuse, nugatory, empty. It doesn't address the very concerns you claim you believe in. Where is your principle? Your principle is soiled. You have a soiled principle. You don't believe in anything. You believe in political mischief and political convenience to win elections. And you've been exposed. I can assure you that posterity will judge your conduct. We may be few, but we are armed with principle. We may not have the number to unturn your inactions, but we are principled. Mr. Speaker, let us build a country, whether you are in opposition or in government, let us have some values. Our friends do not have it. Our friends do not have it. But you know, there is a time for everything. There is a time for everything. Someday, you would be exposed like the way you tried to introduce e-levy in the dead of night. Like the way you tried to introduce 0.75% charges on Momo charges when you even refused to come to Parliament. When you were in opposition, you campaigned against e-levy. You came here to say you are repealing e-levy. Then, you try to use an institution which is a subsidiary of Bank of Ghana to reintroduce e-levy. So after all, you also need a revenue. After all, you need the revenue. You came and then you said you are repealing e-levy, yet you imposed Dumso levy on Ghanaians. You came, electricity tariffs have gone up by 28%. You came, water tariffs, 19%. You said women banking. You have not done anything on that. You said you are going to create one job, 3 shifts, nothing. Even you, the MPs, you are shouting. You are not having a bite at the cherry. So, Mr. Speaker, our friends are friends of double standard. You say one thing and do another. You promise those who have lost their investments, you are going to pay all of them. Those who have lost their investment, you said family and friends is bad. That is what you said in opposition. Today we know what is happening at Gold Board. You know it. You spoke against Galamsey. This is NDC. But you know what? 2028 is not far away. Mr. Speaker, 2028 is not far away. You may have the numbers today, but Mr. Speaker, as Ngugi Watiango said in With No Child, that the ravening clouds shall not long be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky with no child. Mr. Speaker, on these veritable words that I've quoted, I shall rest my case and leave NDC and all its propaganda to posterity. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I will not waste anybody's time.
Yes.
I understand how painful today has turned out for the minority. They didn't think that we'll pass the LGBTQ bill. We have passed it, and he's worried that John Mahama would sign it, and that would be a major indictment on the NPP and, of course, on his leadership, because at the time that Akufo-Addo authored through his secretary the cease and desist, the famous cease and desist letter, he was the embattled majority and minority leader. He was the embattled majority and minority leader. So I think that this moment is a very painful moment for him.
Honourable members.
So, Mr. Speaker, he said we're in your hands. So,
in excess of 5 hours and fortified by Order 56-2, it is incumbent upon me to adjourn the House. The House is accordingly adjourned till Monday, 1st day of June 2026 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
However, the rebuttal is hidden within the newly introduced clauses. The majority revealed that the bill now contains specific exemptions under the phrase, quote, subject to the Constitution, end of quote. Under these new terms, medical professional providing treatment or counseling cannot be accused of promoting activities. Furthermore, media houses reporting on these issues, academic publishing research, and lawyers providing legal counsel to accused individuals are all explicitly protected from prosecution. The majority insists these amendments were made out of abundance of caution to ensure the law aligns with basic constitutional rights. The minority, however, saw this as an absolute betrayal and staged a massive walkout, refusing to be part of the final proceedings. Taken to a press conference right outside the chamber, the minority leader launched a blistering attack on the majority, accusing them of unprincipled double standards and political hypocrisy. The minority argument is damning. When the NDC was in opposition, they fiercely resisted any attempts to amend or soften this bill, weaponizing it against the previous administration and demanding an absolute, uncompromising ban. Yet, the moment they assumed the responsibility of governance, they quietly diluted the exact same law behind closed doors to avoid international and constitutional backlash. To make matters worse, the minority pointed out glaring procedural issues, noting that the original most vocal sponsors of the bill were completely absent from the chamber. when these critical amendments were pushed through. The opposition argues that the majority has passed a hollow, empty shell of a law, using clever word play to deceive religious leaders, traditional chiefs, and the general public, just to secure political convenience. This backlash is about much more than social values. It is a calculated political chess, much ahead of the 2028 elections. The passing of this bill comes at a time when Ghana is facing severe economic strain, with electricity tariffs climbing by 28%, water tariffs up to 19%, and the controversial introduction of new levies. By rushing this legislation through on a Friday night, the government achieves a massive headlines, grabbing victory, but critics argue it serves as a perfect smokescreen to divert public attention away from the grinding economic realities on the ground. Ultimately, Ghanaians are left to judge whether this amendment bill is a matured, constitutionally sound law or a compromised piece of political theater designed for electoral survival. Time will tell, because now we don't know our fate. When you look at cost of living, the way things are just hiking in Ghana, and now we have this bill all of a sudden, like the analysts are saying, it is something to cover up what is actually happening on the ground. So the citizens will then concentrate on matters of this instead of the ones that are really affecting their lives right now. Whatever it is, we'll continue to advocate for a better Africa, better leadership that will keep us, make us safe, protect us, not borders, but the people. We need ourselves in unity before we can get to our destination. We are the only ones that can set ourselves. We're united, we stand, divided we fall. And united, we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, West Africa, and in Ghana.